Hey guys!
Hey guys! Welcome to our first Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
Absolutely.
Episode.
We are going all the way back
to game number 1, which was
Little Samson. We never gave our proper review for this game.
We never did.
Which was a travesty, I feel.
Honestly, it really was. Because going through our gameplay and looking at the game and what it had to offer, I think the secret's out of the bag, though, that everybody knows that Little Samson is a fantastic game. But
it really is.
But this game is just, it really is. It was so far ahead of its time for what it was. Even though it came out, the game was originally launched in 1992. It was produced by Taito, and it was actually developed by a company called Takeru.
Huh.
I don't know anything else that they've ever done, which is probably why it didn't get the publicity or the credit that it really deserves.
Yeah.
But even though it came out close to the end of like the Nintendo's life cycle, you could really tell that they knew the limitations of the system and they really pushed it to their absolute limits of what they could do. Because
they absolutely
did. It's beautiful.
The graphics were great. The music was great. The sound effects were fantastic. I mean, the whole game all around was spectacular.
Yeah.
It really was. So, without further ado, we'll jump into our review of it.
Absolutely.
We'll start off like we always do with difficulty. What we go back and we watch our old videos to see how we fared and pick up on things maybe we might have missed.
Yep.
So that's where we're pretty much basing all of our review on.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, so what would you give this game for difficulty?
So my difficulty, I gave this a 7. As far as difficulty.
Yeah, I was going to 7, inching to an 8, maybe.
I think that there are far more difficult games out there.
Yeah.
But this game is difficult, but there's never a point where the game feels like it's difficult and like bordering on unfair.
Right. It's difficult for all the right reasons.
Exactly.
This game.
Exactly.
As a platformer, is
it works.
About as close to perfect as a game could possibly get.
It works.
I mean,
fantastically.
It is a phenomenal platformer, which I feel like it should be the basis for all platformers. To be honest with you, it was. We could not have picked a more perfect first game for Power Trip.
Absolutely,
we could not have.
No.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you. 7 feels good for 7 or 8. I mean, we definitely struggled through it.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the stages were very. I mean, they were difficult. Some were pretty easy, but where the difficulty lied was that there was a lot of bosses where some of the bosses were difficult, but there was a lot of battles where there was one boss after the next. There was like either 2 boss battles, or there was, I think at one point there was 3 of them. There was 3 in a row.
I think so.
And if you die at one of them, you go all the way back to the start of that boss battle. And if you lost a character, then that character's gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really gets difficult, and that's where a lot of the difficulty comes from, is those boss battles.
Even just that final boss, when you use that ball attack, where the ball comes out and just blasts the screen, you're taking damage no matter where you are.
That's it.
Like
there's no way to avoid it.
I know it took us a few lives, but we eventually just started using mouse to just blow through his life bar, and then that night form of his was so devastating.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really cool finale for that game. But I mean, a lot of the bosses were so well done.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the game.
Yeah, I do too.
I thought the challenge was spot on. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think on fun?
Fun, man. You know, I think Guardian Legend I ended up giving a 10 in our review when we played it. I'm actually gonna step down just a little bit, but I was gonna go like 8 or 9 for this game.
You know what? I
loved it.
I think I'm in the same boat where I think I would go up a little bit. I think I originally gave this game an 8 for fun, but I would go up to 9. Because I would say the graphics in this game are so amazing.
They're crisp.
They are so polished. You've got insanely awesome backgrounds. You've got insanely just awesome characters. There's a nice variety of enemies that you encounter. It's not just the same 5 enemies throughout the entire game. For God's sakes, you even have like a kind of like a bubble bobble reference enemy in there as well too, which is really cool.
Yeah, I remember him.
But it really, I mean, as you're playing it, it's almost like you're playing an SNES game. Like, it's
Absolutely.
really, it's just so clean, so crisp, and there's so much going on in every single level that it just, you didn't think that the Nintendo was capable of what it was. I mean, you see homebrew games like these that were created 20 years later that look like this. And this was 1992.
Yeah, and I mean, the controls are so tight. You never feel like the controls battle you.
The controls are wonderful. They are so responsive.
Yeah.
And you every input that you do, it feels crisp. It feels fluid. So, I mean, there's so many good things about this game. The level designs, just in and of themselves, are wonderful. How it makes you work as a team, interchanging the characters, where there's certain paths you can take as one character, there's other paths that you take as other characters, and you're going to be using them interchangeably throughout the entire game. So, I mean, it's just, it really kind of gives a whole nother dimension to that as well, too.
Yeah, you definitely used a good chunk of a lot of the characters. I mean, we didn't use Dragon that much, mainly because we know we could fucking do the fireball.
Yeah,
but
Dragon's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, it was great. I mean, I loved every minute of that game.
So I would give it a 9 as far as fun goes.
I will definitely agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
So here's the weird part of
Here's the conundrum that kind of comes with a game that's this wonderful and this kind of, I don't know if I would even say it's hard to find necessarily, but we do a is it worth it?
Yeah.
And there comes a point where
this is going to be a tough one to do.
A game is very... If a game's very good, it can be worth a lot. I mean, depending on what you're willing to pay for it. Little Samson's a horse of a different color. In the sense that it's gotten stupid, ridiculously expensive.
As of this video, price charting lists this game for...
$1,175 for the Little Samson
cart. For the cart. So about $1,200.
Now...
is it worth it?
Is it worth it? See, this is a fantastic game, but is it worth that?
Actually,
no, it's not.
I do have an argument for that. It might be. Now, hear me out.
You are going to have to explain this very.
Okay, it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit cheaper, but. How many systems have you bought because a game came out? Like current gen, your PS3, you're talking about getting a PS4 pretty soon. A PS4 is about $300 or $400, right?
Okay.
Then you're gonna buy the game. That's another $60.
Okay.
Then I'm pretty sure you need to buy. So that alone right there is about $460. Okay. And then with tax, $500. So essentially, you're spending $500 for one game. Granted, this is a little bit different because Little Samson's very expensive. It's well above $500. But I'm just saying, it's in a weird way. You could say that yes, this game is worth $500 because you spent the $400 to get the system. Like Breath of the Wild, I bought the Switch for Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
That was. I don't remember how much.
$300 was a Switch.
Yes.
$60 was the game.
And then I had to buy a memory card.
And then you had to buy a memory card, which was another $50.
Yeah.
Whatever. You did not spend anywhere close to $1,200.
But I'm saying that there is some form of. Because I was going to do this segment on what you would have paid, you would pay for it.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, I like your
mindset.
Yeah,
but I think your examples are absolutely garbage.
I mean, I won't lie.
Sorry to be brutally honest with you.
You're right. I mean, there's still no comparison because Little Samson alone is double what that would have cost.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying. So it's one of those things where you have to kind of juggle that thought of, well, actually, a good thing would be if anyone wanted the PSVR. You need the console, which is the PS Pro. Mm-hmm. You need to buy the VR.
Yeah.
Then you need to buy the game. Mm-hmm. So it's just not cheap. The VR is like another. It's
like $500-$600.
Yeah. So I mean, they're right there.
It was expensive.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're trying to buy the PlayStation VR, and you don't have a PlayStation, you're spending about $1,200. Mm-hmm. So I mean, in a weird way, it kind of is the same, but
it could be. Okay, so I get it. So essentially, what you're saying is that Little Samson's kind of like that game where you would have bought the system for it.
Yeah.
Only you would have spent
significantly less.
Significantly less.
But yeah, I mean, the game is great. I mean, I would have spent whatever this game went for at launch or at retail. $60 probably. I don't really know what these games went for back in the day, to be honest.
Back in the day, they were about $50 to $60 for the average game.
Easily would have spent that to get this.
And actually, some games even went as high as like $70, $75. Like was the retail price.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely worth it. So.
Absolutely.
And just a fun. Couple fun little facts too is that the game actually in Japan was known as Lickle, the Legend of the Four Bells.
Oh, that's what the bell is.
Mm-hmm, that's what the bell is.
Motherfucker. Yeah. And he throws bells.
And he does. Yep. Or Legend of the Holy Bell. I'm sorry. Legend of the Holy Bell.
Wow.
Lickle.
That's right. His name was Lickle.
But it's funny because when you hit the pause button and you have the character like select screens, it says L for him, and you think, oh, it's Little Samson. So that's what the L is. It's actually not. It actually stands for Lickle. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You mean ridiculous?
Ridiculous. All right, guys. Well, that's our review. I did see what you did there. Holy shit. I stopped dead in my tracks on that one.
Thank you.
So that'll do it for this retrospective of Little Samson.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we're going to dive into some more games and give you our unabridged reviews of them and what we thought and whether they're worth it, and we'll have some fun discussions. So let us know what you guys think. Leave some comments. Let us know what you guys want to see or what you guys want us to do, and
hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Watch all of our other videos on our channels.
Check them up.
We're 124 games deep on the collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, watch Little Samson. I'd say the only bad thing about Little Samson was the fact that our editing was kind of shitty.
Yeah. It was our first game, so we were kind of getting our feet wet and I mean, that
was just the hardest part. Was just
really
watching out the low quality of our stuff. So, but we learned a lot since then.
Yes, we have. So,
all right, guys.
So
see you back for the next one.
Next time, we'll cover another game.
Cover the next one.
Yeah.
Book-a-doo, book-a-doo. Book-a-doo, book-a-doo.